Welcome to this B1 Printer Delivery e-learning session. In this video, we're looking into the report actions and more specifically the HTTP trigger, or as many people see them as Microsoft Teams notifications and Slack notifications. So here we are in Business One, and out of the box, there's no HTTP triggers in the wizard for printer delivery, only save, email, show, and print. But we can make setups if we want to. And it's fairly simple in that if we go in here, we can make a new report action. Let's call it notifications on Teams. And we choose what we call HTTP trigger. So an HTTP trigger is essentially take a URL and send some data. In our case, it's Microsoft Teams, but it could also be some raw JSON information. But most people will either do Teams or Slack, and we have dedicated videos on how to set it up. We in general have more advanced scenarios in some of our tip videos, but for this e-learning, we're just taking the basic, and then you can go from there. So, and if we want to send something to Microsoft Teams, we need a URL from Microsoft Teams. So I have my Microsoft Teams here, and I have a test channel here. You can only send to channels, you cannot send to chats. And in a channel, you can simply click and say connect us. So in the connect us, we can set up what we call an incoming webhook. And give it a name from SAP Business One. And we could choose an image. We don't do that here. We just say create. And that will generate us a URL that we have now copied to the clipboard. So let's get rid of this and copy that URL in here. Very long URL and that are unique to that channel. And in our case, we're just going to set up that whenever we create an invoice, it should just simply notify new invoice created. So we can write new invoice created, invoice, and then we can use the dynamic syntax. So let's quickly take the number over here and put it in. We could now use a lot of other fields here, and in the help file, you will be able to see some videos about this, how to get the URLs. And down here you can see you can use HTML tables, you can use SQL, you can make bullet lists and so on. Again, the other samples will show this. For now, we'll just make a simple information. Dear Teams, a new invoice was created. So once we have this, we can simply say add. And again, this is a very out there example, but you could imagine that it could be that you could use this report action on one of our schedules, that every Monday it could send out what is the open documents today. Every time you make a pick list, what the channel for the warehouse could see that and get notified about it. Whatever you want in the system. This is again only to set what you can do, then your imagination can go wild and do this. In order for us to trigger this report action, we simply need to tweak our invoice a bit. And what we can do is we can add one more line. And because it seems we don't need a crystal report, we simply just say every time we email, it will also do this action, which is in our case the notification on Teams here. So now essentially the email button does two things. It makes the email, which will go out here, and it will inform on Teams that the new invoice has been created. So let's try it out. Press the email button and see it does email and an HTTP trigger. So the email is now here. That is nothing new, but inside Teams it said new invoice created, invoice 10045. And that's everything there's to it. It's very easy to put things into Teams. It's limited on what you can put there. Again, you can't put tables, you can put bullets list here, but you can't link it to the document, and you can't really move back into Business One. So it's mostly for documentation, for notifications to others, so they can jump into Business One and work from there. And with that, thank you for attending this session. Hope it was beneficial, and see you in the next one.